Could Iron Man survive Darkseid? Immediately, I need to know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below, because he could, right? If this is the first time they're meeting, I think Darkseid wins. And like, Iron Man doesn't know what's going on and they just meet and he's just in like a normal suit. I think Darkseid is definitely clapping him. But besides that, it could go both ways, because Iron Man has been known to fight up against people of power like Darkseid. So I mean, I don't know, boys. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments. Can Iron Man survive Darkseid? This is a low-key a tough one. And before we get started, hit that like button, hit that sub button right now too, if you guys have been enjoying the Nerd Science reactions videos, whatever the hell you want to call these. But yeah, I love these.
Batman in the Hellbat armor is iconic. It represents the absolute peak of human desperation. A suit built not to win, but just to survive a few minutes against a god. It nearly killed Bruce Wayne to use it, draining his metabolism to fuel the fight. But survival isn't victory. Today, we're asking a different question. Could Tony Stark, the man who privatized world peace...
To be fair, Iron Man probably has way better suits than Bruce, right?
...actually killed Darkseid? We're running the ultimate simulation. Darkseid invades the Marvel Universe and Iron Man must stop him. We will break down the engineering required to withstand the Omega effect, compare Stark's energy output to the durability of a new god, and grade every encounter on our tier of survival scale, ranging from tier F, instant death, to tier S, God Slayer. The alarm is already blaring. Look up.
Bro, can I just say too, I am so mad that they fumbled Justice League. DC movies, like, dude, the Snyder cut of the Justice League movie was so badass. I really would like to see like a Zack Snyder Wolverine movie, because I think that would be crazy. That might be low-key kind of tough, but let's keep going.
Eye over New York just turned.
But I'll say, what the hell happened?
In this world, it is something that the goddess blesses us with.
The color of dried blood. Chapter 1. The Standard Model Failure. It starts with a sound like the universe tearing in half. A boom tube opens directly above the Avengers Tower, displacing the air with a thunderclap that shatters windows for 10 blocks. Out steps the Lord of Apocalypse, flanked by a swarm of winged parademons. The Avengers respond within seconds. Captain America calls the formation. Thor summons the lightning, and Tony Stark, piloting the Model Prime armor, takes point. This is the standard play. Hit hard, hit fast, and overwhelm the target with superior firepower. Tony targets the invaders and unloads his capacitors.
Friday, divert all power to chest repulsors. Maximum yield.
A standard full-power unibeam from the Model Prime armor outputs roughly 300 gigajoules of thermal and kinetic energy. Against a tank, a bunker, or even the Hulk, that is stopping force. But Darkseid is a new god. His physiology doesn't rely on standard baryonic matter. His cells are powered by the source, making his molecular density comparable to the core of a collapsed star. When that 300 gigajoule beam hits him, it's not striking flesh, it's striking a gravitational anomaly. The energy doesn't penetrate, it scuffs the surface. It is the engineering equivalent of shooting a battleship with a laser pointer. Darkseid doesn't raise a hand to block it, he simply stares. "Is this your champion?" he asks. Then his eyes ignite. He fires the Omega beams. This is where science gets truly terrifying. Unlike Stark's repulsors, which are particle beams traveling in straight lines, the Omega effect is a manipulation of probability and entropy. These aren't lasers. They are target-seeking vectors of erasure. They don't just travel, they hunt. They take 90-degree turns in midair, ignoring inertia because they're rewriting the coordinates of reality to ensure a hit. Tony's sensors scream with a proximity warning, but the beams aren't for him. They curve around his armor, aiming for Steve Rogers. Thor sees the trajectory. In a split second of heroism, the God of Thunder tackles Cap, taking the full force of the Omega sanction in the back. Thor doesn't just burn. He flickers. The Omega energy bypasses his Asgardian durability entirely. Tony lands beside him.
Medical, Suture protocols.
The Model Prime's nanobots swarm over Thor's wounds, attempting to stitch the god back together. But the nanites fail immediately. The Omega radiation is too chaotic. It increases the entropy of the nanobots faster than they can self-replicate. The math doesn't work. You cannot repair what's being conceptually deleted. This is the difference between the Bat and the Stark approach. When Batman faced Darkseid, he used stealth and misdirection because he knew he was outclassed. Tony, arrogant in his engineering, tried a direct assault. That hubris cost him their heavy hitter. Thor is down, comatose, fading from existence. Tony grabs Cap, fires his thrusters, and retreats. He has to run. The sky is swarming with parademons, and his best weapon just failed against a being who views physics as a suggestion.
They're not worried about the parademons.
Total fail. As the city burns below him, Tony realizes that his current tech is obsolete. He's trying to fight a god with a flashlight. He needs data from a different universe. He needs the blueprints of the only human who survived this. Chapter 2, the Hellbat optimization. Tony retreats to the Star Boost orbital platform, leaving the carnage of New York behind.
Friday, access the multiversal archives, search query, New God Survival Protocols. Cross-reference with Wayne, Bruce.
The holographic schematics of the Hellbat armor float into view. It is a masterpiece of forging, built by the Justice League to allow a human to fight gods.
Crazy.
But Tony spots the flaw immediately. The Hellbat is a parasite. To achieve the necessary power output to hurt Darkseid, the suit cannibalizes the pilot's metabolism. It converts life force into kinetic energy. It is a suicide pact.
Damn.
Inefficient.
Tony mutters, swiping the hologram.
That's kind of
away.
fire, though.
Burn the
Okay.
pilot when you can burn a star.
Here's the engineering advantage Tony Stark holds over Bruce Wayne. Batman is a tactician. Iron Man is a futurist. Batman had to trade his
Futurist.
life for power because he lacks an internal engine. Tony has the arc reactor. Let's run the numbers. The Mark 85's RT node generates roughly 3 gigajoules of clean fusion energy per second. Sustainable indefinitely. Tony doesn't need to bleed to fight. He just needs a better conduit. He begins fabrication on the Omega Buster. Standard vibranium gold alloy won't cut it. Physical matter breaks down under the Omega sanction. Instead, Tony inverts the shielding matrix. He builds a suit that generates layers of hard light constructs and high-frequency magnetic fields. The goal isn't to tank the hit, it's to disperse it. If the Omega beams are entropy vectors, this suit is a chaotic surface, a slippery slope that gives the energy nowhere to land. Round 2, Tony drops from orbit like a meteor. He slams into Times Square, the impact crater vaporizing a squad of parademons. The Omega Buster is massive, a hulk of shifting energy plates.
Friday, engage dispersion fields.
The parademons swarm him. In the previous model, they tore the armor plating. Now, they bounce off the magnetic containment fields. Tony raises a gauntlet. Instead of a repulsor blast, he projects a hard light blade, superheated to the temperature of the sun's photosphere. He clears the path to the throne. Darkseid sits atop a pile of rubble, unimpressed.
Who the hell is playing these? Like, yeah, we got Charlie over here 3 kilometers out. I wonder what the comms are like in this game. I need you on the south side. I need you on the south side.
You return, the god says, to die.
To test a hypothesis.
Tony fires, but this isn't a unibeam. It is a concentrated plasma lance calibrated to the specific vibrational frequency of a boom tube. We're talking about dimensional disruption. The theory is sound. If Darkseid exists partially in the fourth world, disrupting his dimensional anchor with inverted tachyon pulses should destabilize his physical form, forcing him out of phase with our reality. The beam hits Darkseid's chest. For the first time, the god grunts. He staggers back. Smoke rises from his gray skin. It works. The science is solid. But it is not enough. Darkseid lunges through the beam, ignoring the pain. He grabs Tony by the helmet. The hard light fields flare and shatter under the sheer grip strength of a being who can move planets. The metal screeches. The HUD fractures. Cute toy. Darkseid rumbles. He squeezes. The helmet collapses. Tony ejects instantly, blasting out the back of the suit just as the head is crushed into scrap. He tumbles into the ruins of a subway station, gasping for air. The suit distracted him, hurt him, but couldn't stop him. The Batman strategy, survival through armor, has a ceiling. Tier of survival, C. You can survive the encounter, but victory is mathematically impossible. Tony stares at his crushed suit. Survival isn't a goal anymore. If he wants to win, he has to stop thinking about armor. He needs to think about ammunition. Chapter 3. The Radion Hypothesis and the Nowhere Gun. The Earth is falling, but before we get to the physics of the kill shot, we have to talk about the cost of the setup. To target a god, Tony needs time to align the weapon. He needs a distraction. That distraction is Steve Rogers. On the surface of the moon, standing between the Nowhere targeting array and an oncoming swarm of parademons, is Captain America. His shield is shattered, his arm is broken.
Wait, Cap's in outer space?
Soldiers anymore.
What the hell?
Darkseid has deployed the Black Racer, the new god of death, to sever the weapon's connection. Steve doesn't have god-killing armor. He has grit. He intercepts the racer, planting his feet in the lunar dust. Eyes up, Tony, he calms. Take the shot. The racer passes through him. Steve freezes, his life force instantly severed from his biology. He doesn't fall immediately. He stands there, a statue of absolute will, dead before his brain registers the end. But that split-second obstruction gives the targeting sensors the lock they need. Now, Tony Stark is the last line of defense, floating in the silence of deep orbit, staring at a holographic display that offers zero probability of survival. He realizes he cannot outpunch Darkseid. He cannot out-tank him. To win, he needs to assassinate him. He needs a bullet. He pulls up the fire on the Final Crisis event. In the DC universe, Batman didn't defeat Darkseid with martial arts. He violated his one rule. He used a gun loaded with a radion bullet. Radion is a theoretical isotope that is toxic to new gods. Essentially, it is their kryptonite. Tony has to synthesize an analog. He needs a god-toxic payload. He needs a projectile that carries the mass of a collapsed star and the radioactive decay of a dying universe. Tony remotely hijacked
that's crazy, bro.
the severed head of a celestial.
Yo, you are so busted if you need a bullet that has the strength of a dying universe in it. Like, like you're busted. What the hell?
He doesn't just build a suit. He weaponizes a location. Using a swarm of Iron Legion construction drones, he rewrites the celestial spinal column into a hypervelocity railgun. This is the ultimate escalation. To power the shot, an arc reactor is insufficient. Tony initiates the Soul Hammer protocol. He deploys a Dyson array to drain the sun's corona, challenging that raw stellar fury through a subspace link directly into the capacitors of the dead god's skull. The energy output spikes to petawatts. The barrel of the Nowhere gun begins to glow with the intensity of a supernova. Darkseid stands in the ruins of the Empire State Building, watching the sky. He senses the shift. The atmosphere darkens, not from clouds, but because a massive object has just folded space to enter low Earth orbit. The Nowhere gun is online. However, the science of targeting a new god is a nightmare. The targeting computer screams in protest. Darkseid is a higher dimensional being. His physical body is just a 3D shadow of his true form in the fourth world. To the targeting sensors, he's a glitch. He is everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. The HUD tries to lock on, but the target keeps shifting between spatial dimensions. It's like trying to shoot a shadow that moves before the object does. Tony realizes the automated systems will miss. The computer cannot account for the metaphysical variable of a god's will. Tier of survival.
You're not just moving.
Of survival.
You're moving in the right direction.
Not completion. Of survival.
A. This is an existential threat. If the weapon connects, it kills. The physics of the Marvel Universe, concentrated antimatter and celestial energy, can theoretically pierce the source wall protection. But the margin for error is absolute zero. The gun is primed, the capacitors are screaming, but the trigger requires a human hand to guide it through the dimensional static. Chapter 4, The God Killer Event. Tony realizes the truth. Remote piloting is insufficient. The guidance system needs a soul to lock onto a soul. He transfers his consciousness into the God Killer Mark II, a celestial-grade armor standing 2,000 feet tall. Powered by the dying
2,000
embers of a
feet.
pocket universe, he descends to hold Darkseid in the kill box personally. This is no longer a battle of suits. It's a battle of wills. The confrontation is both physical and philosophical. Darkseid expands his avatar to match the God Killer scale, grappling the mechanical titan in the ruins of Manhattan. We need to calculate the force required here. To break the skin of a new god, you need more than newtons. You need to overcome the source protection. You need an energy density surpassing the Big Bang. Tony grapples the dark god, his armor screaming as the metal bends and fractures under Darkseid's grip. "You are a gnat fighting a hurricane," the god intones.
And you're standing in the barrel of a gun.
Tony replies. He fires. The Radion analog, a concentrated beam of antimatter and cosmic energy, erupts from the celestial head in orbit.
Outsmarted him.
Screams down through the atmosphere, stripping the air away, passing through the God Killer armor, through Tony, and directly into Darkseid. It connects. The physics of the Marvel Universe violently clash with the metaphysics of Apocalypse. Darkseid is an idea as much as a being. Killing the physical vessel triggers a death to the new god's energy release, a singularity of pure negativity that will consume the solar system if left unchecked. Tony has 1 second to make the choice. He cannot escape. The suit implodes, collapsing a localized black hole around the dying god. The resulting explosion wipes out the invasion fleet instantly, casting Darkseid's essence back to the source wall where it belongs. Silence returns to the battlefield. The sky clears. The war is over. Tier of Survival. S. The God Slayer.
Nice.
So,
I mean,
can Iron Man actually kill Darkseid? The final analysis suggests yes, but never with standard technology. A repulsor blast against the Lord of Apocalypse is mathematically insignificant. Victory requires the Batman approach, identifying the tactical weakness of a god combined with Stark engineering, the ability to generate the infinite energy required to exploit it. The verdict is harsh. In a random encounter, Iron Man dies instantly.
Right.
Give him the Hellbat blueprints.
Instantly.
In a week of prep time, he enters the fight of his life. He doesn't walk away, but he ensures Darkseid doesn't either. He trades existence for the win. It's the only way to balance the equation. The final image is the empty, melted faceplate of the God Killer armor drifting in the cold silence of orbit. A testament to the man who engineered a way to kill a god. If you want to see what happens when Dr. Doom tries to dismantle Superman, hit that subscribe button.
Yo, we're watching that next. Hit that subscribe
Let us know
button.
in the comments.
Yeah. Banger. Damn, Dr. Doom versus Superman. But Iron Man, yeah, I knew Iron Man was gonna be able to beat Darkseid. Batman could beat Darkseid. Iron Man can definitely beat Darkseid because Batman and Iron Man, they're right here. They're right here. Like they're, in terms of just brains, technology, kind of, even though Batman's not a futurist like Iron Man, Batman still has like the crazy tech too. It still has a lot of money, just like Iron Man. Like they're both the same. Just Batman in his actual physical form is just way better. He can do actual stuff with his physical form, whereas Tony has to get into a suit. Like, that's the only difference. But let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below. Could Iron Man survive Darkseid? Easily. I mean, yeah, he could, but if, like he said, if there's a random encounter and Darkseid just appears, he's dead. Like, he needs a week. He needs at least a week to get all that God killer stuff. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you are enjoying, and yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully he drops the Doctor Doom Superman John tomorrow. Another banger about nerd science. GG's.